All right, welcome to our weekly New Global Media Talk Show. Today is August 25th, 2024. Today we're going to be discussing about the tree planting exercise in the Gambia, to green up Gambia. We had a guest that is scheduled, but we will be waiting to see if he comes to the show. He is running an initiative from an organization called Green Up Gambia. Yeah, so we're looking forward for a guest later on. But before that, we would also discuss this area as well, since we have Famara, one of our co-hosts here, who is also a seasoned a veteran on environment. So Famara, you can lead us to this discussion, and I'm have my other co-host here, Sam Ceesay. Sam, welcome. Yeah. So Famara, since our guest is not here at this moment, but can we just dive into the discussion about the tree planting exercise, which is really, a priority for some organizations in the Gambia. So what is your thought about this effort? And then what do you know about it? What does it do? And why should Gambians be involved with this? You're welcome, Famara.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sawaneh, and thank you very much, Mr. Sam. Once again, we are here this week to talk about tree planting. It's one of the topic of discussion this week. So, Green Up Gambia was supposed to be here, a guest, but then hopefully he will join us as we go along. But without wasting much time, we can just delve into the discussion. And we are in the rainy season in the Gambia right now. And this is the perfect time for planting trees. And then the government of the Gambia actually dedicated a day called the National Tree Planting. They open it up. I'm not sure about the specific date, but usually before the end of July to early August or first week of August, they say National Tree Planting Day. It's usually like a little bit ceremony just to officially open the day, and that people can engage in tree plantings in their backyard, in their communities, forests, or even in the state forest. So this is a very important event because we all know the importance of trees in our environment. And then tree helps a lot in regulating climate. And then also, of course, the oxygen that we, the human beings, need, the tree provides that. And then in return, we also give carbon dioxide, which the tree also needed, to produce some fruits and whatever. So tree planting is very, very important. So like I said, this is the best time to plant trees in the rainy season because we have a lot of water all over. So the likelihood of the trees going to progress in this rainy season is very high because once you plant a tree and then you have the whole of July, August, and probably September. So if you have enough tree, if you have enough water for 3 months when a tree is planted, there is a high likelihood chance that that tree will progress even during the dry season because it will reach at a time where it can be able to survive on its own. So this is the time that we capitalize to have more tree planted. Then, like I said, the importance of tree is it cannot be overemphasized. And the Gambia is dealing with a lot of climate change issues. And one of those impacts or the reasons why we have climate change issues is because our environment is degraded. And then a lot of trees have been, cut down for various purposes, whether it's for domestic use. And then lately, we also seen people are engaging, timber trade as well, which take big and mature trees in the forest, community forest parks, for export to, outside the country. So planting those trees for future generation is very important. It will not only increase our resilience against climate change, but also it will restore the ecosystem back, which some animals, especially the wild animals, also depend on, for habitat and also for nesting, for example, for the birds. So it's very important. So right now, most of the people, especially local-based NGOs, community-based organization, the Department of Forestry and Government of the Gambia, philanthropies. People are engaging in tree planting all over the place. And I think it is a step in the right direction that everybody at least should plant a tree a year. So that will help us to restore our ecosystem back and also build our, resilience against the impact of climate change.
Thank you. Wow. So it seems like this is something that is underrated, like the importance of tree planting, and also having trees around. Because back in the days it looks like, cutting trees is one of the things that we do when we want to fetch firewoods, and we just go in the bush and just keep cutting and destroying trees,
Yeah.
not understanding how much importance it is to have these trees, either to replace them or to probably do something towards planting trees also to replace those that have been used. I think
Right.
that education was lacking. So I think that was one of the reasons why our environment, as I'm listening to you, that might be one of the reasons why our environment is so deteriorated nowadays. Yeah. Is that correct, right? Hello? Sam. Yeah, was it my side or was it you guys?
It looks like maybe your
Maybe
side.
your side, because I was here in Famara.
So
Yes.
yes, yes. If two of you were hearing each other, it has to be, I'm single out. It has to be my side. Yeah. So what I was saying is, it looks like, what you are saying. We were, back in the days, we used to go in the bush and exploit the bush by cutting all these trees down for firewoods and doing other stuff, building houses and so forth, without replacing them. So it looks like that has an effect because, not replacing them, you're kind of running out of wood. I mean, like running out of trees, and then the place, we're not getting all these benefits that you mentioned. Is that correct? We are frozen again.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. I mean, the firewood that we were utilizing back in the days for firewood, and even still, at that time, the ecosystem was not that degraded like it is right now, because the local people, especially in the rural areas, were very, they're very careful in terms of what they exploit from the forest, or in terms of firewood. So they only go for the dry firewood. You'll go to a tree and only look for dry branches to cut down and use it for firewood. And then people don't usually get in the habit of cutting down, a live tree, to cut it down and then let it dry up before you can use it for firewood. Those days, the firewood was so abundant. You can even go behind the, compounds, and then go and get your firewood and come back dry firewood because they already cut down. And usually people are also engaging in this agriculture. So in our farmlands as well, sometimes you see people cutting down trees, and those trees will dry up and we'll use it for firewood. Even those ones contributed a lot in terms of how, environment is being degraded, because people are not very, responsible in terms of cutting down how much tree they need to remove from their farmlands. So that also has an impact on agriculture, because the soil is exposed, and then the wind and the heat as well, and does also have an impact on the crops. So in the past, yes, the firewood exploitation or firewood, gathering was something that we were practicing, but then it wasn't that bad like it is right now, when the environment is kind of destroyed and people chopping down big woods and for various purposes.
So
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 it all contributed down to.
yeah, so you mean now the firewood is not really a big concern because some of the trees really died. I mean, portion of the branches or something that we go and cultivate, or maybe is, like that wasn't a big impact. Now it's probably a different kind of exploitation that is
Yes,
causing this kind of lack of trees in the country.
absolutely.
So
So the
what are these
impact is
big?
more serious
What are
now.
the biggest ones? So what are the biggest ones? And I know you mentioned timber export. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then how is that benefiting other people who are doing this, and then if what is the government doing about it or something? Because if people are really exploiting our areas in terms of like when it comes to wood,
Mhm.
we need to either put a higher tariff, or higher taxes or something, do something to also be beneficial to the country.
Yeah, mainly the timber was mainly for domestic consumption in the Gambia. But recently we have seen when trees like the Keno trees, that's the Petrocarpus ernaceus, which is a very good source of timber, and also very it's an endangered species as well. It's a threatened species as well because their numbers are very few worldwide. But also the wood that you get from Keno is a very quality wood, which if you take it to the international level or international market, it gives you a lot of money. So we have also seen that when people realized that the Kano was bringing a lot of money, especially when the trade started in southern Senegal, which is Casamas, and then they bring in those timbers here, and the Chinese were involved in those timber trade. It brings a lot of money. So those days we see a lot of backlog of timbers in our backyards, in especially in the greater Banjul areas. They will use them, compounds and streets, and then they'll put these logs there and they put them on a container and they send it out to China. So recently, also, we have seen Gambia, especially when you go to the hinterland or especially in the provinces, in the community forest, sometimes even in the state forest, we have seen that those timbers are being cut down, and then people smuggle them and then, put them in a container and then take it outside the country to sell it so that they can get a bigger money or big profit out of it. But mainly, it was for timber, it was for domestic consumption that we were utilizing most in the past in the Gambia, like our own building materials here in the country, because some folks are running some chainsaws, sawmills in Greater Banjul area. So the timber they got from the provinces, they will split those timbers up and use them for domestic consumption. Apart from the Chinese, export trade that we have seen, that was a big problem. And the government, um, most of those deals were revealed when during the Janneh Commission, especially because the former president was kind of involved in the trade, and then a lot of timber was also coming into from customers, which the Senegalese people has actually banned, for export in certain timbers, species of trees outside the country. But we were seeing a lot of those were coming from customers, and then they've been exported to China, and those deals were, uncovered when certain companies like Westwood were involved in timber trade in Gambia. Then we realized how many containers left the Gambian shore to China. That was a huge, huge amount monetary values of timber that has been cut down. So that has an impact on the ecosystem, not only in the Gambia but also in the sub-region as well.
Okay. Sam,
Mhm.
what is your take on this whole fiasco of timber transportation? We have our guest here, Wonderful. Wonderful, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. y-
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you can hear me. You can hear me, right?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yes, I
Yes.
can hear
So
you as well.
we are
Okay.
on the discussion of the tree planting, and our guest here who's supposed to be with us, we haven't reached hasn't reached us to us. So we were just discussing it because Famara has a in-depth knowledge of that. So we will spend
Yes.
some few minutes on that, and we'll come back to the constitution.
Yes. I will continue to listen and learn from that. And I have all the time for you so you can appropriately deal with that topic because it's equally important. Anything that has to do with the environment is very important. So I'll also listen while I learn also from him. So you can go ahead. No worry
And
about
if you also want to contribute anything, you could. Okay.
it.
All
No
right.
problem. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Go ahead, Sam. Yeah, Sam, you have the floor.
Yep. Well, definitely. Thank you, Famara. Famara is has been very well contributing in this in the environment in general, very well, and a lot of people learn. We all learn a lot of stuff all the times. But when it comes to tree planting, is tree planting is very important. Is good for our environment, and I think the government should require. I think you mentioned that they did something before about tree planting, but one thing I know for sure is in my community where I came from, we started this last year that we're going to plant trees every year moving forward. So we did some last year, and this year we did 100. We bought 100 trees. People from my hometown in the diaspora. We work with the people on the ground there, sponsored trees. So we bought 100 trees and then got them planted just about couple weekends, like just about 2 weeks ago, where they did that. This year we were a little late because the best time that we talked about planting trees is that during the month of June, July, not to get into August, because if you start in June, July when the rainy season starts, there is a chance that the trees will survive by the end of the rainy season because the natural water will help that it will help the plants grow, the trees grow, and then we also did something uh, uh, where we locally provide a little bit of fencing for the trees so that the animals like the goats and the sheep won't go eat the plants, the trees. So we did that by fencing them, and then we assigned every area in town to watch for certain trees in the area. And after the rainy season, is their responsibility to maintain, to make sure they get enough water and watch out for anything that will happen to the trees. So we did that, and our alcalde actually confirmed. From our previous meetings, that all the trees that we planted last year survived, with the exception of just a couple. So, which was a great thing. So, and this year we did, like I said, we did 100 because tree planting is very important. Like Famara was talking about too, and you, Sawaneh. Back in the days, people don't know, and they would just cut trees for any reason they want. If somebody is building a house, we'll go cut a tree to be able to get some wood out of it, without realizing the environmental impact of that. In my childhood, we went out in the bush, in the woods, and got firewood, but usually from dead trees. That is understandable. Trees that are already dead, that's good. You can take those, but we never cut any live tree. And like Famara was talking about, the deforestation of our community, with the government involved in that, and some people, private partnership involved in getting trees and cutting them and selling them to China. That was good for their pockets, but bad for our environment, bad for our country. We shouldn't be allowing trees getting cut, especially new trees. I don't have any problem with trees that are dead, cutting those out. That's fine because they're dry. And I also recommend that, even in our community, recommended that if there's a dead tree, let's plant at least two by it, from that area. When we're taking one out, one dead one, let's plant two around it. It's important because trees provide a lot of good benefits to human beings. Just like some of the things that Famara mentioned, oxygen is one of them. In fact, uh, trees provide a good property value for our community, for our houses. If you see people looking for houses, chances are they would like to get houses that have trees around them because it provides property values for properties, for our houses, because it creates the cooling for the environment. In fact, they said 20% of trees actually provide 20% of savings on electricity, for having trees around there. Very, very important. If you look at back in the days, a lot of wind. When there is wind, a lot of wind around our properties can cause some things because people really want to take care of the environment and really want to make sure that trees are protected and that they are getting the oxygen and the shade from the trees. Also, trees, the branches of trees also block the hot wind that comes out in summertime when it's really hot out there. Survey shows that people that actually plant trees around their homes and have large trees or a lot of trees around and inside their properties can save on air conditioning because the trees help cool their houses. And so they use less electricity because they have trees around them compared to those that are sitting in the middle of nowhere, no trees around them. Will get the heat wave. Another part of that is the other part also is if you look even in the United States here, but more in Africa, when there's heavy rains with heavy winds that comes in, you will see that some people's whole roof get blown by the wind because they're in the direction of the wind and there are no trees to block them. But places or compounds or properties that have a bunch of trees around them to block that wind,